Picture this. Before a difficult conversation, your brain quietly opens a negotiation table. On one side, there is the other person, with all their imagined reactions, anger, disappointment, or rejection. On the other side, there should be you, with your needs, limits, and desires. But before the real conversation even happens, you start doing something strange. You slide your own chair backwards. You lower your own demands. You rehearse ways to make it easy for them, not for you. You tell yourself things like, I will ask for less money so they do not think I am greedy. I will say I am fine with whatever time works for them. I will pretend it did not hurt so I do not make things awkward. By the time you actually speak, you have already negotiated away half of what you needed. The other person does not even have to say no. They just have to exist, and you have already made all the compromises in your own head. If this sounds uncomfortably familiar, this video is for you. You and I are going to look at this pattern closely, give it a name, understand why your brain does it, and then build a small set of tools so you can stop negotiating against yourself and start showing up as an equal at that internal table. By the end, you will have a simple way to tell when you are about to pre-reject your own needs and what to do instead in the next few minutes or days. And in a little while, I will share one short question that, if you ask it before important conversations, can completely change the outcome over time. So keep listening for that. Let us name this pattern inner pre-negotiation. Inner pre-negotiation is what happens when, instead of preparing for a conversation by clarifying what matters to you, you rehearse a version of events where you already say no to yourself so no one else has to. It is not the same as empathy or healthy compromise. Healthy compromise is when two real people bring their honest needs to the table and then find a middle ground. Inner pre-negotiation is when only one person ever really shows up, the imagined version of them. Your side is already watered down before you even speak. You might think you are being reasonable, but in reality, you are practicing self-abandonment with very polite arguments. This experience is not rare or weird. It is extremely common, especially among people who are conscientious, conflict avoidant, or highly attuned to others. Your brain developed this habit for reasons that once made sense. Maybe you grew up in a house where asking for what you wanted led to explosive conflict, withdrawal of affection, or being called selfish. Maybe you had a parent whose mood set the tone for the whole family. So you learned early that your job was to adapt and smooth things over. Maybe as a teenager, you had experiences where being direct cost you friendships or status. So your nervous system quietly filed away a rule. Negotiating for yourself is dangerous. Better to underask than to be rejected. Combine that with cultural messages that celebrate being low maintenance, easygoing, and grateful for whatever you get, and you have the perfect storm. Inner pre-negotiation becomes your automatic safety behavior. In practice, it shows up in all kinds of small, almost invisible ways. You are about to message a client with your rates. You type the number that would actually make the work sustainable, and then you stare at it, feel a spike of anxiety, and quickly delete and replace it with a smaller number while telling yourself, "It is fine. I am still gaining experience." You are dating someone new and something they do really bothers you, but instead of bringing it up, you internally negotiate a story where your feeling is unreasonable, they are busy, they have trauma, I should be more understanding. You lower the bar for how you want to be treated before they even know there was a bar. You want to ask your partner to help more around the house, but in your head you immediately hear, they will just say they are tired, they work more hours than you, they will think you are nagging. So you beat them to it. You say nothing and then resent them quietly while also resenting yourself for not speaking up. The hidden cost of this pattern is huge. When you constantly negotiate against yourself, you send a deep message to your own nervous system. My needs are dangerous and must be minimized. Over time, you stop even knowing what you actually want. Your default answer becomes, I do not mind, whatever works, I am fine, even when you are not. You might feel strangely invisible in your own life, or chronically underpaid, overextended, or underappreciated, while also feeling guilty for wanting more. Relationships built on inner pre-negotiation often look stable on the surface, but underneath they are built on quiet resentment and unspoken expectations. One day, after years of minimizing yourself, you might explode in a way that shocks everyone, including you, because to them it seems like the first time there is a problem. The truth is that the problem has been there all along. Your inner negotiation table has been tilted for years. If some of this describes your experience, I want you to notice two things. First, this pattern is not proof that you are weak or manipulative or broken. It is an old survival strategy that helped you navigate environments where being fully honest did not feel safe. Second, As an adult, you now have more options than your child self did. You cannot control how others react, but you can stop giving away your half of the negotiation before the conversation even starts. Let us build a small toolkit together. We will use 3 tools: the inner contract check, the empty chair rehearsal, and the no discount experiment. Think of these as practices you can try this week, not rules you have to follow perfectly. The first tool, the inner contract check, is about catching the moment you begin to negotiate against yourself. Before an interaction where something matters to you, or right after you feel that familiar urge to water down your needs, you pause and ask a simple question. If I agree to this, what am I secretly expecting in return that I am not saying out loud? For example, suppose you are about to accept extra work without extra pay because you do not want to seem difficult. Your inner contract might be, if I say yes now, they will appreciate me later, they will remember and reward me, they will think I am loyal. Or in a relationship, you might decide not to bring up something that hurt you, while secretly expecting that your partner will somehow just know your limits and change anyway. Once you name that inner contract, you can assess it more clearly. Is it fair? Is it realistic? Have you actually communicated it? Most of the time, you will realize that you are about to sign a contract with yourself where you pay and someone else benefits, without them even knowing there was an agreement. That insight alone can stop you from giving an automatic yes. Try this in the next 24 hours. The next time you hear yourself thinking things like, "It is easier if I just," or "I will say yes this time," pause and ask, what invisible contract am I about to sign? You do not have to change your decision yet. Just write down the contract somewhere and see how it feels when you look at it with clear eyes. The second tool is the empty chair rehearsal. Inner pre-negotiation uses your imagination against you. You mentally summon the other person into your head and let them argue with you before they ever speak. The empty chair rehearsal is a way to reclaim that imagination and put your own voice back at the table. Here is how it works. When you are preparing for a conversation that scares you, sit somewhere quiet and picture an empty chair in front of you. At first, you let your mind do what it has been trained to do. Imagine the other person sitting there saying all the things you fear. They might say, "You are too much, you are asking for too much, we cannot do that, you are ungrateful." Let that play out for a minute or two. Then deliberately remove them from the chair in your mind. Imagine the chair is empty again. Now you sit in that chair mentally. You are both you and the person who cares about you. From that position, say out loud what you actually want or need without immediately softening it. For instance, you might say, "I need to be paid fairly for the amount of work I'm doing." Or, "I need more emotional presence in this relationship, not just logistics." Or, "I need you to not joke about this topic because it genuinely hurts me." Hearing your own voice say these sentences in a safe environment helps your nervous system get used to the sound of you taking up space. It turns abstract needs into words your mouth has already practiced, so when the real conversation happens, you are not speaking them for the first time under stress. To make this a micro assignment, you could choose one upcoming conversation this week and promise yourself you will do a 5-minute empty chair rehearsal beforehand. It will feel awkward. That is okay. Awkwardness is just your brain learning a new posture. The third tool is the no discount experiment. One of the core behaviors in inner pre-negotiation is the automatic discount. You take whatever you genuinely want and shave off 20, 30, or 50% before anyone even reacts. The no discount experiment is not about becoming rigid and never compromising. It is about practicing what happens if, just once in a while, you state your full ask before you start adjusting. You pick a low-stakes situation and decide in advance that you will not pre-shrink your request. For example, imagine you are choosing a restaurant with friends. Your default script might be, "I do not mind whatever you want." In the no discount experiment, you allow yourself to say, "Honestly, I would really like to go somewhere quieter tonight. How about this place?" Or with your boss, instead of immediately saying, "I can stay late all week," you say, "I can stay late one evening this week. After that, I need to log off on time." You can still negotiate if they push back. The key is that you let the other person respond to your real position, not your already discounted version. Start tiny. Choose one interaction in the coming days where you would usually soften your preference before speaking, and experiment with stating it at full strength once. Notice, did the world end? Did the relationship explode? Often, you will discover that people are more flexible than your fear predicted, and that your nervous system can handle a bit of tension. That lived experience is what rewires the pattern, not just insight. Notice how these tools connect. The inner contract check stops you from unconsciously trading your needs for unspoken hopes. The empty chair rehearsal gives your voice practice at expressing what you actually care about. The no discount experiment lets you test reality and see what happens when you show up with your full ask at least occasionally. Together, they move you from being a ghost at your own negotiation table to being a living participant. Now remember that curiosity loop from earlier, the simple question that can change how you enter tough conversations. Here it is. Am I deciding for them before they have even spoken? The next time you are about to send a message, accept a condition, or choose silence, ask yourself this question. Am I deciding that they will say no? That they will be angry? That they will leave? That they will think I am too much? And then changing my behavior based on a prediction? If the answer is yes, you have caught inner pre-negotiation in the act. At that point, you can add a follow-up. What would I say or ask if I were not allowed to pre-decide their reaction? You do not have to be fully fearless. You just have to let reality have a chance to answer instead of your anxiety always answering for it. If you feel brave, you can even share in the comments one area where you notice yourself negotiating against yourself the most, whether it is money, time, emotional needs, or physical boundaries. Seeing how many other people do the same can soften the shame and turn this from a private defect into a shared human pattern. Throughout all of this, I want you to keep holding two truths. First, your habit of negotiating against yourself is not a moral failure. It is a sign that at some point your nervous system learned that the safest way to keep connection was to disappear a little. There is a kind of intelligence in that, even if it now hurts you. Second, you are allowed to update your strategy. You are no longer that child or teenager with no power. You might still be afraid of conflict or rejection, but you are also an adult with the ability to survive someone being disappointed with you. In fact, learning to tolerate that discomfort is often the price of living a life that fits you. Change will not happen overnight. There will be moments where you notice yourself discounting your needs only after the conversation is over. That is still progress. Every time you catch the pattern one step earlier, every time you write down an inner contract instead of just unconsciously signing it, every time you rehearse your real words to an empty chair or run even one small no-discount experiment, you are teaching your brain a new story. My needs belong at the table too. As we finish, take a moment to form one sentence for yourself. Something like, I will stop deciding for other people before they speak and start letting my real needs into the conversation. If this video helped you recognize your own inner pre-negotiation and gave you concrete tools to try this week, let it be more than just an interesting idea. Save it as a reminder for the next time you are tempted to shrink yourself. Share it with someone you know tends to give away their side of the deal too early. And subscribe to Mind Unlocked so that you keep building a mental toolkit for better thinking, clearer communication, and deeper self-understanding, instead of letting old invisible negotiations keep deciding the shape of your life for you.